topic for this video is one that I brought up towards the end of my Xur video. I mentioned that I had some pretty big feelings about it, and that topic is Bungie should revamp the engram system to make drops more exciting. I'm going to start off by explaining the system that most current players will understand. The system would be the one of Destiny 2. When D2 first came out, the system was slightly different to how it currently is. In vanilla, when an engram dropped, whether it was rare, legendary, or exotic, it would go into your inventory and sit in your engrams collection section, making you have to go to the tower, or at the time, the farm, for a cryptarch to decrypt the engrams that collected during your explorations. This also worked in terms of bright engrams, for you had to head to Tess to have her decrypt, which that lore never makes sense to me, but, you know, whatever. The Forsaken came out, and the way they changed the engrams is that they just got decrypted right away. This is what players are familiar with today. If you have any of your 10 slots open in your engram collection section, then it will auto-decrypt. This auto-decrypt worked for rares, legendaries, and exotics, but not the newly added prime engrams or the continued bright engrams, which makes you still visit Cryptarch or Test, respectively. The engram system that I personally preferred and thought it added some excitement and hype to engrams was the system of Destiny. The reason behind this is because of items being in one large engram pool. When you would pick it up, it would end up being a specific item that needed to be decrypted, meaning you knew right off the bat whether it was a primary, secondary, heavy, or one of the 5 armor pieces. I think the reason I prefer this system is because it helps set expectations about your loot. If you were hunting, let's just use one of my favorite exotics from Destiny, Red Death, but instead of getting a primary exotic engram, you received a boot engram. You knew from that moment you picked up the engram that wasn't going to be that. But for me, personally, I wouldn't get upset because getting exotic was still something special at the time. Now, let's say you were lucky enough to get a primary exotic engram. The moment that got picked up, the excitement would kick in, and I would start getting butterflies, like waiting for the activity to finish so I could go to the tower. This would end up in either 2 ways, and, most likely you can guess what those would be, and that'd be correct. Either you would get Red Death, or you wouldn't. For me, at least, if I didn't get what I was hunting for, I wouldn't get mad. I would still be happy with the drop because of the excitement built up from having to wait what I got, for the most part. Obviously, if I got the item, I'd be super happy to try it, and try out something new if I didn't have it yet. In today's state, Destiny 2, you don't get that build up. If you're lucky enough to have an exotic drop, which takes forever to happen, you'll go through these actions. You'll be done by the time I finish this sentence. You hear the noise of the engram dropping to figure out where it is, go pick it up, and for the most part, be immediately disappointed with what it is. In this case, for the majority of players that have the collections finished, that don't care about exotic engrams, specifically armor, or they already have a good roll of it, so it's a waste. Yes, the engram system in Destiny did have some problems, like dropping exotic armor from rares or from legendary engrams, which I think should still be a thing, since that happening was such a hype experience for many players. The largest issue was where the engrams would be stored. They would go into your inventory, just like a weapon or an armor piece, taking up that space and limiting the amount of items that you could keep on your character at a time. That'd be why I think it'd be a good thing that came out of Destiny 2 engram system was the ability to have a set place for engrams to be stored. But I think this could use an overhaul. They transitioned back to the D1 system, or just an overhaul in sections. I personally want 3 different sections, or at least 2 if they stick to the current way. Now, let's talk about going back to the Destiny system. Allow for 5 engrams per group. So 5 weapons, 5 armor. Could always be up to 10 for each, but I think 5 should be fine in a sense. If they just auto scrap blues once you get to a certain point, since it's all they're used for, scrap it, get the materials. And honestly, should never need more than 5 for bright engrams, considering it takes forever to get them. I don't think that prime engrams kind of need anything done to it. They should still drop the same as the other items, but keep the special purple outline with the, yellowish white in the middle to signify that they're different. Now, let's talk about keeping what they have, just giving it a little bit more quality of life updates. This would kind of go along with the same mentality of having different engrams split into different sections. One section for brights, one section for prime engrams, and possibly one section for seasonal engrams, similar to umbrals. At this point, obviously, it's something they're sticking with umbrals, but, who knows what's going to happen in the future. Those that manage to follow along are probably thinking, what about umbrals? And you'd be kind of right for thinking that. Umbrals are a good step forward for allowing certain items to drop from it, if you have the lenses and all that stuff figured out. But you only really get a drop like that during the special milestones. Like, you get them from the weekly missions. Meaning that you would still have to go to the recaster to choose which engram you want, taking the excitement out of it as well. So there isn't much to go after. For me personally, during Season of Arrivals, I used the recaster to focus engrams when the armor one got bugged to drop at the pinnacle levels and to check off the triumphs. Mostly because I got the good rolls of the stuff that I wanted early on. I haven't even used the recaster during Season of the Splicer at all, and we're a month in. The thing, though, is thinking about how they're going to be stored. They share the space with bright engrams and prime engrams. I think that we all know how often umbrals drop, and if you have the recaster leveled up the whole way, then you get double drops, meaning that after 3 strikes, I would usually have my engram section filled up, some even slipping into my postmaster. Now, this has slightly been adjusted, as Bungie did say that they were dropping too often. I think they're still dropping too often. Like, I can go for a good couple hour play session and have like a couple primes drop, maybe 1 or 2, and the rest are all umbrals. It's getting to the point where it's annoying. People are always mentioning that Destiny needs to have that excitement factor about loot again. And I do personally believe that if Bungie does the engram change back to the original Destiny system, then a lot of people would be happy with loot again, instead of complaining that there isn't any excitement anymore. Like I said, pick it up, you already know what you got. There's no build up there. You see the engram, you have maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds of build up. Not enough to really create anything. Well, that's all I got for this video. Thanks very much. Wow. Ooh, yikes. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked today's video, feel free to like and subscribe for more Destiny content. I am planning on streaming soon once I get some stuff figured out. But you can check me out in the link in the description. See if I'm doing it yet. I'll see you all in the next video. Maybe in the meantime, I'll run into you at the tower. Till then, stay safe, Guardians.